Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everybody's Comedian, where we get all up in comedy's business. I am your host, Keith Graber, and with me as my guests are a couple of friends and fellow comedians, and they just so happen to be a couple in comedy. Give it up for Owen Garrett and Becca Ward. Guys, take a virtual bow.
Thank you.
Take an audible bow because also people are just listening to this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So Owen and Becca, this is going to be fun because, okay, so first of all, let's talk about the fact that you guys are actually, is it a quadruple threat? Is that a thing? Okay, so you're dating, right? You live together.
Yeah.
Right? You do comedy together. Yeah. And you work together in a comedy club.
Yeah. Quadruple the amount of threats we place upon each other.
It's too much. Do you guys meet up in dreams too? Is that like get coffee when you?
Actually, Owen whispers that in my ear before I go to sleep, like, I'll see you in your dreams. And I'm like, okay, see you there. This won't be my only reprieve from you. It's okay.
It's like a Freddy Krueger.
What do you have?
I still have the shower.
What do you have instead of the claw hands?
Oh, I don't got. Yeah, come on. What kind of?
You don't have to answer that. No, this isn't a dirty podcast. Sorry.
Yeah, come on, buddy. I'm gonna listen to this.
Okay. So let's start from the beginning. If you'd like to answer this question, you don't have to, but how long have you been doing comedy? Owen?
Oh, Becca was so ready to answer right there.
Becca, do you want to start?
No, I didn't. No, I wasn't.
Sometimes it's a dirty question. Sometimes people don't want to give their number, like how many people have you slept with, that kind of thing, you know?
Well, I just think it's also because the truth is the same for both of us.
Yeah. That's like a fifth-ruple threat is we both started comedy about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, and sixth-ruple threat, we're both from like the same town in Virginia. Like
you are not.
Yeah, like, our dads live like 15 minutes from each other.
Okay, so a septuple threat is that you're cousins as well. Is that where this is going?
Yeah, that's the hardest part about it. But our dads are both chefs.
Correct.
Okay.
So
okay, so for the rest of the podcast, let's just list all the fun facts that Becca and Owen have in common.
And we both have brown hairs, and we both wear socks from Joe Rogan.
We both like mochachinos.
We're both
actually French vanilla cappuccinos.
Okay, all right, I was way off. And so you both have been in comedy for around 4 years. You started around the same time. Did you know each other from the beginning?
No.
Okay.
No.
And how did you meet? You met on Zoom?
Yeah, through doing all the Zoom shows, the fan shows, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or how we met.
So he did something right.
And then Owen was the one who told me, oh, you should start doing liar comedy shows, like they're really chill, the locked in the room guys. And I was like, oh, maybe. And then Sally Mullins was like, hey, you should do the liar shows. And I was like, okay. Yeah. I heard about them through this really cute guy. She's like, oh, Owen, oh yeah, you should go for that. And then randomly Jess Winter was also like, I think you should go for, you would really get along with Owen Garrett. And I was like, joke's on you, already made out in his Prius. And by made out, I mean
with him.
Boned. Yeah.
Okay.
In his Prius. Sorry, Mom.
My mom.
Sorry, Owen's mom.
No,
sorry.
I heard that voids the batteries, the warranty on the battery. So you've been dating, what is it, 9 months?
That's a good question.
Yeah, like what?
Yeah, I'm not trying to like I'm trying to set up the so for the rest of us, I see you guys as a cute couple. You get along, that's great. but what happens in my brain is I imagine if my wife was also a comedian and then also worked with me and then also, and then how close I'd come to blowing my brains out. Love you, honey. No, but like, so, and what you guys have together seems like it's, I don't know, is magic? Is that too fun of a word to say? Is it too whimsical?
Yeah, that's something like someone in your age demographic would describe. Like,
You got you got an old soul.
Yeah, you have an old body. You have an old soul and an old body.
Yeah.
Just so much story behind your eyes.
Oh, I can see wrinkle for every tale.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we started like talking, I guess, like I actually slid into his DMs, and he thought I was catfishing him, which is hilarious, and very complimentary actually. And
Hilarious because you're both from the South and you love catfish. Is that why that was funny?
No, I don't eat seafood.
Oh, that's not from the sea. All right.
Yeah, and then then he took me to play golf, and we made out in the park for a little while. That was
Becca,
really cool.
Becca, I don't mean to like, have a pissing contest, but he took me to play golf too.
How could you?
Just throwing that out at you. I don't know.
Right, but like
we made out briefly though. It didn't like there was no spark. So
yeah, it was just all physical between me and Keith.
Yeah, like it didn't mean anything, Becca.
It's fun.
Okay, so let's talk about your comedy. Obviously, your comedy is differs slightly. The way, do you guys have different writing processes that like how do you spend your time writing, and does that like conflict? Is there certain times of the day where you're both in writing mode or talkative mode or any of that kind of stuff?
You can go first, Owen.
Well, I think she's like, I think I was nudged to be on first because I think Becca wants to know my writing process too. Because like, no, I'll just put it out there publicly. Oh God, this is embarrassing. But like, dude, since we moved in, I've barely been doing any writing. But I barely did any writing before I moved in with her. I'm just a shitty comic. That's just really what it comes down to. Like I just been coasting on just like writing my shit like on the way to the mic or to the show, and just trying, and then like improvising on stage a little bit from like a couple ideas, and then slowly building up a joke that way. But I gotta admit, I've been a really crappy comic and just haven't been doing my homework past forever. So yeah.
See that though, like a lot of times what happens is like we'll be talking about something and he'll say like, and Owen will say like, oh, I had this thought about this, I think it's kind of funny, and I'm like, that's really funny, that is really funny, you should write that down. Like, and I think half the time he does, half the time he doesn't, because he's just like what comic isn't gonna like poop on themselves a little bit, right? But like I'm definitely more the type to like throw a bunch of crap at the wall and see what sticks. And he's a little more like selective, I think, about the jokes he'll tell. And I'm like, my personality and affability will carry me.
And I've seen that in action. It kind of does.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm more of a written word. Like I write jokes, and if I don't have those jokes, I feel like I'm nothing on stage. You know what I mean? Like without that,
you're like free. Yeah, you're free falling a bit. Yeah.
I still haven't developed that sort of like, riffing persona that people can really like consume on stage. But Becca, I feel like you have that as well to some degree, right?
Well, Owen and I both started in improv, and I think that's where it comes, like it's a natural kind of like word association game, almost. So like you're like the first filter of your brain is like trying to make a pun or trying to like associate this with this movie quote or this song lyric or this or that or the other. Like, so I think it really helps for dating because our brains are actually similar. And then I think it also helps for comedy and for helping each other's jokes and styles because we know how to just keep yes anding until we're like, okay, we're done with that, or until one of us says something too far and then we're really done. Actually, I was thinking about this morning about like that's one of my favorite parts about doing jokes together is like when you get to a joke and then it's a little too personal and then the other person, i.e. Owen, is like, oh wait, do you mean that? Like, it's like no, still all a joke.
Yeah,
but maybe a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, totally kidding. Yeah. And then I'm like in the fetal position underneath like 4 like comforters. It's like, oh, your joke's hilarious, honey. I love it. Don't change a thing.
Do you guys ever take personal stuff too far on the stage or in a performance or anything?
Me, totally. Yeah, totally done that. Totally regretted doing a set fresh after arguing. Definitely.
You should have counted.
But not him.
Before
yeah.
You did
Oh, yeah. Or just like, focus on unicorns. Like, who knows? Like, I got plenty of shit about unicorns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
let me tell you about how his fucking boxer shorts smell. Yeah, it's just
well, I think it's like the same after my dad got married this this chick who was random to me at the time and like didn't tell anybody and then like waited a couple months. Then my mom like sent me the notification on Facebook. So I went and did a set almost immediately after finding out about my dad marrying this random woman. And there are tons of premises in there that actually were pretty funny, but zero affability because I was so angry. Like I was just venting, I guess. And people, I had some friends there, so I got some nice like, ha 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 ha, you're going through it, girl. Like, but yeah, I think like it was fun and it worked once at the chateau where I was playing, oh, my boyfriend, he's also a server, be nice to your servers, I'm trying to get laid, blah blah blah, throw it out there. It's almost like built in this like house dynamic. But when it comes to stuff like that's just happened or like that just like reminds me of a joke that I wrote before we were even dating but like could be associated with like what just happened, it doesn't there I have 1,000 jokes in my mind. Like I don't have to pick the one that's gonna like hit close to home for me or for him right away. That's not good. Yeah. Oops.
Yeah. No, but I feel like there's a benefit to that because at least you guys as comics understand what, I think the comedian who is either dating or married to a non-comedian, they don't sort of understand where the humor comes from and that it's just a joke or that it's just, there's this stream of consciousness that we use to fuel our comedy. And sometimes it doesn't mean anything, and we criticize a lot of things in comedy. And sometimes we're not even trying to, it's not an honest critique. We're just trying to get a laugh. We're just trying to explore a topic.
Correction. I think that men do that. I don't think that female comics do that as much. I think we're a little more like, I don't know.
On your sleeve.
Yeah. Like, or just, I think we're a little more like wary of what we say. Like there's a certain amount of letting your guard down that we are lucky to have with each other. And yeah, we'll say some really messed up stuff together because it's a safe zone. It's a safe place to play. But I think like a lot of dudes want to have that safe area, that safe place to try jokes because of like now in cancel culture where it's like I don't feel I can say whatever pretty much wherever. But I feel like there's a lot of stuff that Owen can't say in public because of like being a white dude. Like, so it's kind of awesome and fun to create this safe space between each other where we do know that we're just kidding and that we're just taking something too far or taking something in a direction and it's not meant to be offensive. It's all just riffing. Like there's that understanding. But I think that men crave that more than women do because women were kind of allowed, we're still kind of allowed to do that. But like dudes in comedy, especially right now, you have to be really freaking careful.
Well, I think also people sort of take comedians at their word a little too much. And even when it's even when it's stuff that's in the safe zone, like, you know, Jerry Seinfeld might actually be fine with airline food, but he needs to make an observational joke about it because it's there and, you know, etc. He could be fine with 90% of it. Like I joke about vegans once in a while, and I don't have a problem with vegans, but like there's certain things that are funny about the concept of that, you know? So I don't know. Sometimes I can make jokes to my wife and she doesn't get it. And she thinks I'm just like dunking on her, and I'm not really. It's just like, hey, isn't that funny? You know, that how you never put the, you know, the laundry away, right? Or whatever, you know, it is.
Well, but because there's truth in it.
Yeah.
That's when it hurts. Like it's like when you're masking a communication issue through a joke. Like, cause your wife is so smart. Like she knows, she sees through it. She's like, all right, then just fucking tell me to do the laundry then. Like, or
not smart
something,
enough
right?
to fold towels correctly. But yeah, I see your point. Like she is really smart. She's a very lovely woman. She's sweet. No, I'm kidding. Love you, honey. This is all getting redacted.
This is all no, but what I'm trying to say is like it's like there's some things that have to be a conversation before they can be made a joke. If it's still too raw to you, it's gonna be too raw as a joke. Like you have to like talk about it first and then you can revisit it as a joke after. But if you're using that as a tool, like instead of communication, it doesn't work. Like the person that will see right through it and say that's not funny. That just kind of like, why don't you just like tell me what's up?
Like, what about you, Owen? Do you agree with that, or blink if you're allowed to disagree? Okay. There you go. Do you agree with that? Do you think that honest communication comes before comedy, or can there be honest communication through comedy?
I think there's a little bit of both. Like it just depends. I think it really depends on like the context of either, because like a lot of things too, like I definitely agree, are too raw and you can't, it might be too soon or you might say the wrong thing while people are sensitive about a certain like topic or thing that may have happened. So you know, just I believe in being a person first and then a comic second. And so like I want my relationship stuff to be like set and fine and like everything cool with everybody before I say something like super fucked up. Because if like people's feelings are hurt or people's feelings are raw, like, and you say something fucked up, like I want Becca to enjoy what I'm gonna say. Like even if I'm gonna dunk on her in front of people, like I want her to be in on that joke. I don't want to like clue people in that like we're having a spat or something by making a joke. So I think like if anything's in like that questionable range for me, I just won't even bring it up until things are like totally cool between us.
I liken it to roasting. It's easier to roast somebody you know well because you sort of know where all the boundaries are.
Yeah, exactly. And you know like how far you can go without really like doing too much. And like also kind of like trying to communicate through jokes, like that works, but that's definitely a context thing. Like if I thought Becca wasn't doing like laundry too good, even though we both do laundry great. But like if there was like some kind of issue that I was like too afraid or like didn't want to like bring up, but I joked about it. I think sometimes or a lot of times, maybe all the times, like your partner can just tell, like, oh wait, that's a joke, but the real point behind that joke is like he thinks I leave the 2 liters of soda out overnight and it makes him flat all night. I don't know where that example came from. But like that's probably yeah.
You
That
guys will fight about it later, off camera.
Yeah.
Okay, so answer me this. Are you guys ever competitive with each other? Whether it be with material
yeah.
or bookings or anything, attention from, you know, if you both perform on one night and somebody's getting a lot of high fives and the other person's not, like, tell me all the stories.
You have, like, it's natural, like we have to, like, even if like we don't want to be a little bit competitive, like we are totally so competitive with each other. But I love being competitive with her because I mean, especially too, because I always win. So it's nice like having like a rival that's almost as good as you because I'm getting pushed.
Oh,
Man,
oh.
Okay.
You know what's funny is like how many times you reference I, Tanya, and I, Tanya didn't win. Like Tanya didn't win. She just got like literal cutthroat.
Man, when I become president, I'm gonna get I, Tanya every day. Fucking won my heart and mind. I love her.
So this is why I spent time setting up how long you've been together, how long, because you guys, it's I want to puke. It's almost too good of a relationship. Like people should watch you guys and learn from it. You're almost too healthy. You're too well adjusted. You're too respectful of one another.
No, dude, you know what it is that it was so bad the first like month or 2 months, and I'm not embarrassed to admit it. Like it's real, you know. It was during quarantine. It was coming out of me spending way too much time with my mom, who is not grounded in anyone's reality, and it was just like he was losing his place. We moved in together like way too soon, didn't even really know each other, and then we're just forced into this like make it or break it type thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and so we fought all the time for, you know, a month, the first like month or two, but it was growing pains and it was getting to know each other. And as long as we could put it in that frame of reference mentally of like, hey, we're arguing a lot. Is this a huge problem? And it's like, or is this like, are we victims of our circumstance? And if we wade through this and work together and like figure it out, we'll be stronger at the other side of it. And thankfully, we both had patience enough at the time to see it through. And now we get to live in this like cool ish Airbnb.
Yeah. Strong in.
So by the way, arguing for like a month or two is like the smallest growing pain. Like that's adorable. You know, like so many people don't have like that good of a relationship. Like that's a very small window of you know, of adjustment period.
But we're both also very dramatic.
Yeah. Well, listen, honey, I'm not dramatic at all, but if you want to bring up yourself, you can.
So
no, Owen's friends call that alt passion drama queen the Cubano. Like that, like it is known.
I heard, I think one of you told me that when you argue in a British accent.
Yes. Well, I just think that maybe if you wanted to get dinner tonight, since I got it last night, that would be really nice.
Okay.
And that's the thing. You talk like that, you like if you talk like that, you get whatever you want. Like, oh, I don't think that we're gonna watch your choice on Netflix tonight. And it's like, oh, okay, even though I've got the controller and can hit anything, you said that magic words with that sing-songy thing that's gonna haunt me for the rest of my life. Like, well, like whoever says the sing-songy verse first, like they pretty much always win. And
Yeah, it sounds like passive aggressive improv. The
it's just how you talk in leads, mate.
yeah. Uh, okay, so now as far as being competitive with one another, I have a question. Have you guys ever experienced like it with other people that getting booked? Do they feel like they have to book you together, or else it's they're leaving one of you out, and therefore maybe you're losing bookings or things like that?
I don't think that's really been a problem because Becca gets booked all the time, and I'm like, I'm never put on any of these shows. So I don't think I don't think people are too worried about booking both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm definitely not keeping track of how she's getting booked way more often than I am. Yeah, I don't think that's really a problem because Becca is getting booked left and right, and no
Mm-hmm.
one's putting me on those shows.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm definitely.
That's not true.
Mm.
Well, I think what's more the case is Owen gets booked. I show up to support him as audience, and they're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were coming too. Do you want some time?"
Mm-hmm.
That happens like one time. Like Becca, like she's like Batman, just like out every night doing spots, making people
No,
laugh.
that's not it. That's not true. I'm lazy. No, I think when it comes to bookings, we run in similar circles. So we get booked in similar things, but then we also have like our own kind of like subset of like almost like own comedic circles of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's got a lot of like younger guy friends, and I have a lot of like middle aged lady friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
um and and it's never been an issue if we're both, like, for instance, when Jess Winter was looking for comics for Spotlight Sunday, I messaged her first. She said no problem. And Owen's like, oh, but like, I don't know if she put me on. I was like, just message her. Yeah. Why wouldn't she? Like, why wouldn't we want to be on something together? We can ride together. Like, it's just like, honestly, it's a lot of convenience, like to be able to be on the same show together.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something after where you're really like, you're in that raw kind of like insecurity of like, holy crap, I just left like so much vulnerability on the stage. And like, you're trying to like fish for compliments from the other person, but the other person's also fishing for those compliments. So we're like, oh, but like, did you like this joke? Or like, what did this person say about this joke? But like, sometimes we're both in that zone
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, and that's always kind of funny because like I have felt jealous of like, wow, everyone came up to me and said what a great set that you did, and it's kind of annoying to me tonight. And he was like, oh, well, everyone came up to me and said what a great set that you did tonight, so, and that was kind of annoying to me. So like, I think sometimes it just like we're all in our own heads all the time. Like, it's kind of the cool and uncool thing about being comedians. But
Well, I'll tell you what, I wouldn't book you both together. And here's the only selfish reason why. Because like, you are each other's bring. Like, why would you know what I mean? Like, you bring Owen, and Owen, you'll bring Becca. I would book you consecutively for sure, but not together. It's a waste of, I might as well book Becca, Owen, and everyone the two of you know on one lineup, and then have
oh
nobody
yeah,
come
and then
to the
have
show.
nobody in the
Yeah,
audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
stupid.
That's funny.
Because I noticed that with Ed and I, we're not even dating. We're business partners, but we end up on a lot of lineups together, and that's great and it's fun. But it's like, if you just booked me, Ed and Christina and everyone will show up, and then vice versa. Like, you should do it consecutively. You're sort of wasting a bring here.
Well, one thing that I thought was really cool that Owen did was for this. So there's this like creepo guy, this guy who was just creepy to me at work, and just like got in my physical space, and
Someone
like
who
without
also works there.
no, not even. It's just like one of the people to like a guy who wants to produce shows there, and he's just there all the time now, which is like awkward, but like they handled it pretty well for me. Everybody handled it pretty well for me because I make myself and my needs and my wants known. I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm not shy. And so I just let people know. And then they wanted to book Owen on one of their shows. And he came to me and he was like, they want to put me on their show. I don't feel good about it. That's the guy who was like, not good to you. Like, I told him maybe I would like think about it, blah, blah, but like, I wanted to talk to you. And I was like, it's up to you. You know, do you want to be associated with these guys? Which is my way of saying, don't do this. Like, please don't do this because I can't come and support you. I would feel really awkward. And it just like wouldn't feel that good to me. But it's like, I don't have to go there. I just have to say, it's up to you, balls in your court. And then he's just like, but he can see it from my POV. And he's just like, it's not necessary. And I don't want to be associated with people who are like that. Most of all, especially in this like age of comedy and age of the industry, it's like you do want to be choosy who you associate with.
Yeah, it was like, it's horrible that happened to Becca, but one of like the things that came out of it that was freeing for me is it like gave me like, it opened my eyes to like, you can say no to people. Like I like pretty much before all this, I'd say like yes to everybody, try to do every single thing. And like people, there have been some people that have just been complete assholes to Becca, not just in it, like just not just like in getting in her physical space, but there have been comics that have done shows with her that have like acted like her friend because they want stage time like after the show. But then on like the Instagram post the next day, like make fun of like Becca or like something she said on stage that had like nothing to do with their actual set. And so like because of like all of this, like it's helped me open my eyes and realize like I don't have to pretend to be friends with all these different people. I don't have to fake support their crappy shows. Like it helped me realize like I can choose who I do comedy with, like who I support and where I go and who I actually support and actually follow, instead of like all these jabronis that just show up left, right, and center trying to get you to like coddle their ego and stroke them and get you to like their post, but really like they'd sell you under a bridge in a second. Like I'd much rather like not make it or take longer to make it by like just doing stuff that's fun with my friends, and whatever happens happens. If I have to like deliver french fries for the rest of my life, at least like I'm having fun with my friends on Wednesday, Friday, Saturday nights. Like it's not like this journey isn't worth it to me if I'm going to end up like hanging out with like those assholes that got in her space or anything like that. Like I don't want to work this hard and like end up like having to pretend to like those types of dudes. Like I just like wherever like my social circle goes, like that's where I'm gonna end up.
Yeah, that's a cool part about always having each other's backs is in this industry, especially in doing comedy, is like constantly having someone to remind you of your worth. Of your worth as a comic, as your worth as a person, you know, like that you are worth bottom line humanity, and you are worth like so freaking much as an artist, you know, which is like all a lot of us feel is a lot of imposter syndrome and all this and that. So to have somebody behind you who does understand the depth of that feeling, but also like you respect their opinion enough that when they say to you, hey, you were great, or hey, yeah, that was rough, but like good for freaking you for putting in the effort, you know, whatever it is, it's just dope. It's dope to have somebody who understands.
Yeah,
Like,
It's tricky. It's just weird that that's the minefield of this industry, that you have to decipher who's a bad person. And you know what I mean? Like there's other industries where you're like, either it's not that hard to decipher, or when you see that bad person, it's easy to say, get the fuck out of my face and never talk to me. But in comedy, it's sort of like, you don't want to burn bridges. You're so like, your thirst drives everything, and it makes everything so complicated. Sorry, Owen, what you were going to say something?
I was just gonna say, like, we are like, the great thing about dating like each other is that we're people first, comics second, but we're comedians 24/7. So we're able to see. We're just so it's so easy for us to diagnose like what's going on with the other person, like if they're not feeling great or like what they're going through, like if you had a bad set, if you're feeling anxious before work, or if like you didn't like those group of guys who came in and did a show, like it's so easy like to like know and like diagnose, like, okay, I see like how this comedy problem is spilling over into our real lives, and then I can use like my real like human emotion to like fix a problem or help like deal with the problem that came out of the comedy world.
Mhm.
And because as much as like we try to separate the two, it's so hard to tell if we're one entity. Like it's impossible. Like it's always leaking into it. Like I'm always saying like I need a break, and like I can't talk about comedy. And then seriously, like the next thing I'll bring up, like, remember that dickhead at the chateau? Like I
Yeah.
we can't turn it off.
No,
But it
that's
is really
proof that
important.
that's proof that you're in the right place, that you're doing comedy, and you should be doing comedy. Sorry, go ahead, Becca.
Well, and I understand, like, for Owen, it's important to have multiple facets of life, where it's like he likes jujitsu, he likes video games, he likes like movies
Golf.
and golf, and he likes D&D, and he likes all this awesome stuffs. And and I like comedy. And true crime. Like, you
Oh
know,
my
and baked goods. But but no, it's like I'm a hyper focuser. I love living in that land and being fully immersed, and like I could think about it all the time, and it won't bother me. I never get tired of it. But it's like, it is cool to take a break and to talk about something else and to give a shit about something else for a second. You know, over this 10 years, that's really been like, my life has been so like horse blinders on, like single lane focus, that it's like I haven't really even stopped that much to think about, oh, like, do I want to have a house? Do I want to have a family? Do I want to have a partner? Like, it's been very selfish. I'm not a too I don't think I'm much of a like selfish person, but my intention, like, I'm very selfish for like my life goals and stuff like that. But that's another cool part about dating somebody whose goals are similar in some ways to yours. It's like, you don't have to compromise that selfishness. Like, I get to still do the mics and the shows and the going
Yeah.
out and the this and the networking and the this and the that. And it's all, he's right there with me.
Yeah.
Like,
We push each other, and we're very similar in a lot of things, but we're also like completely opposite in like just as many aspects. And like even within comedy, like she has strengths that I don't have, which is weird to think about, because like you see me and you're like, I have weaknesses. Yes, everybody. Like maybe one or two. I don't even know. I'm just trying to sound human. I know I'm like a comedy god, but that's what this podcast. Um,
it's
you edit that part out too. Is that a way we can get that edited out? I didn't mean to say that out loud. What? No, but like, like there are things like Becca does that she's fantastic at that I'm just like awful at, and just being around her and just talking about her it really helps me, like networking, which is basically the job part of comedy. Like I have zero skills in networking, not really that much of an outgoing guy, not a people person. Surprise, surprise. But Becca is amazing with people. Um, Probably because she's a serial killer, like watching all these like true crime things and debate. Like once open micers start going away and there's like a baked good left there, I think like that'll be Becca's like calling sign, like the baked good open mic killer. She's already open anyways, but
Mhm.
um, I don't know. Is there like a button that you can just like hit where I just start rambling and like I just lose whatever point I'm talking about? But I've just got
No,
okay. The whole point of that is I'm just gotten way better at networking because of Becca, which is
Yeah.
important. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, this is the point in the show where Becca, we throw it to you, and now you tell us what qualities that Owen has that you are envious of, or that.
Owen has like a turn it off, like a compartmentalization,
Uh-huh.
that it's like if I as a human am like just overwhelmed perpetually. Just live in a constant state of beleaguerment, of emotional beleaguerment. uh but it's like, and Sally has even been one to kind of get on my butt when I'm just not. I also have like problems with my immune system, and I have some other health issues that like it just makes it hard if I don't have the energy. Like I start getting really down, and then it's like I feel like I can't do it. Like, and so having somebody who's just like, yo, buck up, and like, but doesn't say it in an aggressive way, is like, hey, I just know if it were me and I was in this, like it might actually make me feel way better to just like be around my friends, let their energy infect me, and like see if I can just push through it. Maybe just go as audience and see if you can muscle through. Like just like a couple minutes. You don't have to do the whole 5 minutes. You can throw some time back to the room. Having somebody who's just like like can compartmentalize and say, hey, it's not all about how you're feeling in this moment. It's about like letting outward influences affect you positively. Like that's something he's really good at. It's like just kind of like shutting off the whatever is the fire at the moment and just like going into go mode and taking care of business.
Mhm.
Like that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah. I feel similar issues with you, Becca. Like I never don't feel like I'm not doing enough. Is that did I throw too many negatives in there? You know what I mean? Like I'm always feeling like, am I doing this? Am I doing that? Am I doing, and
or if you can't be 100%, why even
yeah, yeah, yeah.
bother?
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I suck. Why, Kimberly kind of helps me with that, but she doesn't know comedy as well. So that's where I think you guys sort of benefit, and your relationship, you guys know the nuances of the craft that you're doing and the industry that you're in. And you can kind of coach each other through that. And I mean, I can't understate how much like your relationship should be a model for other people in terms of, I swear, you're not you as individuals, you're both freaking goofballs, but
Yeah.
your relationship really is like, that's something I think other people look up to, because you're happy, you're healthy, you're both funny. And you're doing like we said, what were we up to? Octuples threat
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
you're like in each other's dreams, and you're like Rick and Mortying each other, and you're somehow successful through all that. So I don't know. I think it's really great. So applause for you two. All right. So we've reached the point of the episode where you guys get to name your episode. It's tentatively titled Couples Therapy, but that's boring. What would you guys like to name your episode? And you get to workshop it together.
I feel like Airbnb has to be part of it somehow. Just like the format of the house affected how this podcast is gonna come.
Call it like Airbnb.
Yeah, Air Bay and Play.
Airbnb. Yeah, no, it's bad. It's really bad here.
Airbnb. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Scare-BNB.
Yeah.
For
Scare.
real.
Yeah.
But that is part of like we've been through so much like external factors, like our last living situation. Like this guy had like a really bad drug problem, and my inclination is to save everyone, even if I don't know your last name. Like, and Owen's just like, we can barely save ourselves. We
There's
really need
billions.
to get out
There's
of here.
billions. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah.
possible.
We need to get out of here.
Yeah.
And just like, and then being here, it's like there always, and then being at work and having that be a club, like really having growing pains and trying to get off the ground is like there are always external factors where it's like we are forced to either stand with each other or stand against each other. And the times that we've stood against each other, it just all collapsed. So we're like, we might as well just be the frick in this together. And it's just like life, everything is so much easier just being able to like do it together. Like,
It's just been like, it sounds like Becca's been describing the movie Inception, and that's like basically how like the beginning of our relationship has been, where it's like this couple has been just dreaming, but the dreams have lasted 10 years. Like the first few months of our relationship seriously were like 10 years long. Like we went through so much stuff, so many different things, but multiple things happening every day. Like I got my car smashed in, her car broken into twice. Like, and that's just like the go-tos that come up. Like a couple guys tried to steal a kidney of mine. Like shit stole.
wait, what about contra inception?
Contraception.
Scare-BNB is pretty good.
I mean, I think,
Virginia is for lovers. Oh, there's something there.
did we freeze?
What do you think, Owen? Owen froze.
Freezing is for lovers. Airbnbs are for lovers.
Yeah, right. Why fight club?
No, I can't hear any of that. The internet kicked out. So what's the title of this movie?
Airbnbs are for lovers.
Yeah.
Airbnb, Scare-BNBs are for lovers. Airbnbs for lovers.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. The combo. Scare-BNBs are for lovers.
Yes.
Let's do it. Guys, we've reached the end of the show. Is there anything that you'd like to plug? And go ahead, plug away. Be crazy.
I'll plug Owen's butt.
Hey.
Owen, what would you like to plug?
Well, definitely that. But on Tuesday, 6 and 7, come to Next Up Mike on Lancashire. I think it's 5818 Lancashire. My buddy Mayu hosts it and runs it. Mike's are an hour long. You can sign up for a slotted or just hit up one of us. First time's free. Come out and get your time. Next Up Mike, 6 and 7 o'clock every Tuesday. Come through.
Becca, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Check out Isolated Confusion podcast. Anywhere you can find podcasts. Check out Hot and Funny Comedy on YouTube. I got a new episode of Clown Sync, which is a kooky clown sketch comedy crew that I rock with sometimes. So check out Becca Ward Comedy for updates on that. Otherwise, I think we've got Cherry Bomb from Sunland Sunspace on Twitch coming out another episode coming out soon. And then stay tuned for, we're going to negotiate some Pants on Fire live show action in the near future. So stay tuned for that too.
That's coming. That's great. All right. Well, thank you both for being here today and for professing your love in podcast form. I know it's we all hate you. And we all hope you break up soon. No, I'm kidding.
Listen, our love is based on Gatorade and Gushers and Doritos.
Yeah, you guys got,
we are strong.
You guys got Monster Energy. Yeah. That's been our show, everybody. I'd like to thank our wonderful guests, Owen Garrett and Becca Ward.
Thank you.
I have been your host, Keith Graber. Check back next month for another episode of Everybody's a Comedian, where we won't have these two crazy fuckers on. All right. Goodbye. All right.